I just know you're going to love the guests that we have on in this episode, so don't go away. Welcome to another episode of The Interview. I'm Dr. Rick Wadge, and we have a special guest with us, and that is Patrick Nelson. Patrick,
Yes,
how
sir.
are you doing?
I'm wonderful, man. I'm wonderful. Thanks
You
for
are
having me on.
from IamMe.org.
That's right.
What in the world is that about?
It's a nonprofit organization that my family founded about 5.5 years ago. And it was after a trip to Haiti that I took. It's actually my first time overseas. I'd never been outside of America. And so I started having dreams about orphans, and I'm a football player in college, and it's the last thing that we think about, is
orphans, yeah.
orphans. You might think about, what's happened locally and food pantries and whatnot, but I'm starting to have dreams about orphans, and I'm thinking, what is this about? And so I get a call from a friend of mine, and he's come on down to Haiti. I just had this, radical experience that changed my life, and so that's interesting timing, I'm thinking, because I just had these dreams. And so I come to Haiti and spend some time in an orphanage, and my heart just opens wide, and the Lord keeps giving me downloads and visions the whole time I'm there about how I can help. And so the rest is history. About 6 months later, I started a 501c3, and we've been doing work down there since 2013. Yeah.
I'm blown away. I'm looking at our dear friend Mike, who is off camera right now.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm blown away by this. We've been hearing a lot about Muslims having dreams and visions of the Messiah,
Yeah.
and that has rocked their world. It's rocking their culture, their politics. I've never heard of anybody having a dream and a vision of orphans before. So this is, I'm kind of caught off guard by what exactly to say to you, except thank God somebody's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Lord had been developing my heart for ministry in the time. And so when I was in college, we had on-campus missions. I was doing Bible studies and things like that. But it was always local, and ministry was never something I really felt called to as a vocation. And so these dreams kind of seemed like something that like a father would come to you and say, you are so gifted in this one area, and then a father kind of has a way to speak identity into you. And I felt like the Lord was doing that in my sleep, like He was speaking this into me. And as I received the identity of fathering orphans, there's where the vision of the orphan ministry came. And so I shifted out of thinking for myself and what can I do for myself to I am a father to a generation, and I'm a father to the fatherless. And when I got that revelation, that's where this ministry started. And
Patrick, you're catching me, I've said it before, but you're catching me completely off guard. You are not the stature that I would have guessed for somebody working with orphans. I don't know why, but it just doesn't seem,
Right.
it just doesn't fit, which tells me only God.
only God.
Only God. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're a basketball player, football player.
Yeah.
Orphans.
Right.
Really.
Only Him.
Could you imagine yourself in a street ministry before?
Yeah. I knew. I was even when I was in college, we were even doing some local missions.
Okay.
We were going to LA at times.
Okay, some of the.
East
So where are you
Texas.
from?
I'm from Dallas. I was born in Dallas, but we moved around a lot. And so I went to elementary school in Oklahoma City, and then all around the southeast, and then ended up graduating high school in Florida, in Central Florida. And
Why
so,
in the world would
well,
you
culture.
talk about LA then?
Well, at the time, we had a really vibrant ministry in my college, and that's when I really felt this pull into ministry. And so at the time, we're like, man, LA needs Jesus. And so we just let's go over there, and we partnered with YWAM Ministry.
Yeah,
And,
incredible. Youth with a
also-
mission.
Yeah, and the Dream Center as well. So there's a skid
I
row.
helped build
Did you?
the foundations of that whole ministry
Wow.
as a high-rise building official, but this is not about me, it's about you. So that area is a tough area.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tough area.
Yeah.
I remember, this has been many, many years ago when I was still in seminary, and that I would go down there and work for the city of Los Angeles as a deputy high-rise building official. And I would get there at the crack of dawn in the morning, and I'm painting a picture. And I would see people kneeling on the ground on the blacktop, scraping up. It's like, what in the world are they doing? They were scraping up blacktop to smoke it.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And and there were at that time, this has been over 20 years, 30 years ago probably by now. At that time, there were small bonfires in the streets early in the morning. And I was thinking then, what in the world is going to happen to Los Angeles? So here you are now later ministering in that same area at times
Right.
to these folks that are, I mean, down and out is not even the word for it.
No, it's just I would say the level of, disillusionment, because those people on Skid Row are just a few blocks from Sunshine, or the Strip, Hollywood Boulevard and the Strip, and all the luxury and the glamorous and things like that. And so they're
Very
seeing,
close to Bel Air, very
Yeah.
close to these areas that are high end.
Yes.
$1,000 purses people carrying around.
Yeah. And so they're seeing luxury at its finest, and they're just a few streets over.
Right.
And so when you're down on your luck, you think, okay, one step at a time. But the most glamorous, place in the whole entire world, I feel like, is right there. And this comparison thing of like, I will never make it, and it's daunting and it's oppressive, and it's the mentality of these people are just hopeless. And so I find that a lot in Haiti, and they feel so hopeless, and so it's hard to take that step forward because it's like they compare themselves to America and the Western world and things like that. And they're thinking we're so far behind. And they are. The culture is about 50 to 75 years behind the times, in economics and education and, farming, trade, all of those things. And the cars they drive are like, super old school. So, they think we're not going to catch up, so why should we try? And it seems to be very hopeless. And so, but as we know, when Jesus steps in, as he did with me, and just breathes that hope and that identity, which is what we're really about, and it shakes hopelessness, and it spreads it out, and so that's what we're here to do, is to bring hope into the people that don't have it.
Okay, give your web address again so people can find you, and I'm hoping also give. Would that be a good thing?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
501c3, they're going to get a write-off at the end of the
Yes.
year. You're going
Yes.
to be able to use those funds to be able to help orphans. How many orphans, by the way, before you give the web address, are you dealing with at a time?
Yeah, so we have 12 right now in our home. And so our orphan care model is to have family homes rather than institutions. And so what we're seeing with institutions is it's great, they're awesome and they're fantastic. But what happens is it almost validates the orphan spirit of, I need to have a sense of connection to a father figure or a mother figure. And so in an institution with 60 to 100 kids in one building, you're not really going to have that secure attachment. And so for us, we want to develop family homes where a kid can connect to a mother and a father of sorts.
Where did you learn this stuff?
Well, there's people doing it all over. It's more widespread now. There's Watoto in Africa, there's Hands and Feet as doing this in Haiti. And so it's a new model, and it's taking it a little step further. And orphan care has always been phenomenal, and I really honor the hearts of people who've done that. But I feel like the Lord is doing something bigger and better, and it's taking what was done so well and just increasing it a little bit. And so it's taking these kids and having them get a sense of secure attachment.
Now, I see you have a wedding ring on.
I do, yes.
What's that about?
I met my wife in Haiti. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
She interestingly had a series of dreams as well. And, and so she started dreaming, and she had been to Thailand, and she had been to places all over Asia on mission work, and she was really doing sex trafficking work.
She wasn't involved in sex trafficking.
No, she was.
She was
in
helping
ministry.
those come out of
Right.
sex trafficking. Okay, well,
Yeah.
make sure we clarify that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So she's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
And she's a pastor's kid, and so she got the call of missions. And so interestingly enough, she had background in doing sex trafficking rescue missions. And then when she moves to Haiti and she's working with us as our first missionary, we 6 months later start rescuing kids from trafficking. And those are the kids that are in our house now, are kids who were trafficked. And it looks different in Haiti. They're not.
What's the ages?
When we brought him in, our youngest was 6 months, and then the oldest that we brought in at the time was 9. So, but now we have our youngest is 5, and our oldest is 13.
You are blowing my mind with this age group that also has been subject to sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where is the humanity in the heart of people
Mm-hmm.
that would subject another person to that type of terror?
Yeah. Yeah. And poverty breeds evil, all kinds of evil. And when you're in this extreme poverty, as Haiti is, people do anything for money. You know, and not all of our kids were sex trafficked, but some of them were brought into an institution, you know, that was garnering money from places like Cuba, Canada, America, and instead of providing the care that the kids really needed, people pocket that money, they exploit the kids, sell them into servitude, not always sex trafficking, but sell them into servitude. And so they get this money, it's supposed to be for food, it's supposed to be for education, but they keep the kids basically at survival. And so the more Americans come, Cubans come that sees the kids, oh, we gotta help, we gotta get involved, we gotta give money. And so the heartbreaking thing is a lot of times people come with the heart to help and serve, but they're not seeing the exploitation. And so they give a lot of their money, but not in the right hands, and it's hard to know. It's hard to really know.
The heart is right, but not having the time to do the research.
Right.
I ran into the same issues in Honduras. 2 different years I went there. We had all the best intentions the first year, and the monies that were given, the gifts that were given, never ended up going to help these orphans. The next year, we were much more educated on the issue and avoided the so-called Christian ministries that actually weren't Christian at all. They were taking the monies for themselves, and it was a tragedy for the people in the area. And there was a large church organization that was not allowing third party missions to be able to come in and be effective at all. It was a territorial thing.
Yeah.
Are you running into any of that in Haiti?
You know, we're not right now. We've heard horror stories of people who have, you know, and so we're more of a small organization still developing. We have 12 kids, you know, we have a business of leather goods, and we've, you know, trained up women to basically marbleize leather, and they've made, you know, wallets.
Yes.
And clutches, purses, handbags, things of that sort. And so we sell those things in the States, and that provides income for these moms.
Now, if they go to IMME.org, can they find a store or something to help?
Yeah, so the store is a separate business that we've helped to establish. And so the website for that is VOA.com, and our web address for IME is IMME.org.
Okay, so let's do the store address one more time. I'll make sure that we have a lower third down below where people can find you and buy things to help. What was that again?
Sa-Voix, SA-VOIX.com.
Okay, what does that mean?
Sa-Voix means her voice in French. And so all of our women that are making these handbags in Haiti are women, and women who may have been through tough times. Most of them have been through tough times. And so we have a discipleship program at place. You know, the lady who's managing the products and the construction of his products also takes time, and she pours into them spiritually. And so some of them have been, you know, prostitutes. Some of them have been, you know, orphans themselves. And so most of them have actually been orphans themselves. And so it's equipping them and empowering them to have a trade, you know, things to do.
Yes.
So we're hoping this business grows. And so that's going to be things that we can pour into more businesses, potentially more schools.
Yes.
And so our orphan care model is very specific to creating secure attachments, but we also do an orphan prevention side of if we can do things to prevent orphans from being created, like poverty, you know, and things like that, then that's what we're doing.
Well, it also sounds to me like it's focused on being indigenous.
Exactly.
So that they are learning something where they can, you know, you give a person a fish, or you teach them how to fish.
Yes.
And so that you're teaching them how to fish.
Yes.
And that's much more beneficial to them and
more sustainable.
Now, more sustainable? How long will you work with these kids, until what age?
till they're 18.
Okay.
And so there's a governing body in Haiti, just like in the States. And so once the kid turns 18, they can't stay in your institution or your home any longer. And so we're developing right now actually a transition program for them. And so we have some time. We have about 5 years until our oldest ages out of the system. And so we're hoping to construct more businesses and trades for them to actively be plugged into in case college isn't an option for them for whatever reason. So a lot of our kids are really behind in their schooling because they've been in trafficking. They're not going to school.
Sure.
So they're really behind. So we're developing that transition program for them when they age out of the system. They're not just thrust into real world good luck.
Yes.
And we see a lot of times with orphanages where kids age out and they haven't really received life skills to contribute to society. And so we're wanting to develop some of those things with them and have practical things to plug them into. So they're not out on the
That's
streets.
fantastic. That is so good.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if a person gives, obviously that is going to be a huge benefit.
Mm-hmm.
What if they wanted to come out and see what's going on and help?
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
would they do that?
Yeah, so they would reach out to info@ime.org and just express interest and say, hey, I would love to come to Haiti on a trip and meet your kid and see what you guys do. And so we call our trips vision trips because there's a missional component to it. We will always go out and spread the gospel and we'll pray for people and things like that. But realistically, people come to Haiti for a week. And so the impact that they're going to make isn't the same as if they really get to know and understand God's vision for Haiti and partner with us in that.
Yes.
And then even when they come home, they can partner with us continually as carrying the vision on as advocates of what we do.
Yes.
And so it also helps them as well. Maybe they come and they're stuck in their career or they're like, I don't find passion in my life. And then seeing God's vision as it's properly displayed in Haiti kind of awakens some of those, fresh excitement to gain vision for their own lives. And people oftentimes write when they're in Haiti, and God just gives them so many really cool things that they take home with them. So,
Do they need any kind of special background to come?
we will do a background check. They don't have to have any,
Credentials,
no credentials,
training.
Yeah, just the heart to come, and so that's really about it, and we'll prep them beforehand, and we'll have phone calls and FaceTime calls with them. And so we'll get them prepared, and it's summer all year round,
Summer all year round.
It's the low in the summer is like in January is like 80 degrees.
Okay.
So that's about as cool as it'll get, and that's pretty dramatic for
So
places like
probably don't bring heavy jackets.
Nope.
Parkas.
that.
Okay.
Nope.
All
There'll be
right.
some hiking and things
Yeah.
like that,
Okay.
and you can bring water to stay hydrated. But
You will help them kind of organize. This is how you're going to get on a plane. This is how
Yes.
you're going to. Okay. All right,
yes,
good.
yes.
Well, it's amazing what God is doing in Haiti, and that He would choose you with your unique background, very different, which tells me that God can use you, even if you're not trained for this.
right.
He will give you the passion, just like He did Patrick, and He will give you the tools you need to get the job done. God loves everyone. And if we don't pull down the fences of our own construction, of our own understanding of what we think our lives are about, we're going to be horribly misusing the life that God has given us.
So good. Yeah.
And, it's a worldwide epidemic of needing God and needing Him intimately. I love it that you're taking a few people at a time, these kids, so that you can know them, not just by name, know what's going on in their lives and individually help and mentor them.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think there was somebody else who took like 12 and did some amazing things with them, and they went to spread the word all over the world.
That's right.
I think his name was Jesus,
Yeah.
something like that. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recall that name.
Yeah, I recall that too. So he has impacted the whole world. You're impacting Haiti
That's right.
because of him.
That's exactly right.
And He called you to do this with a dream.
Yes.
You believe in dreams and visions.
I do, yeah. And I honestly, I wasn't opposed to them beforehand, but I wasn't operating in them, and I wasn't praying for somebody to have them or anything
Right.
like that.
Right.
But when I experienced it, and I knew that it was the voice of God, because God speaks to us in our language.
Yes.
And I don't speak Dutch, and so He's not going to speak to me Dutch. He's going to speak to me
Right.
Patrick. And so
Right.
my dream was such a way where I could fully know that this is God speaking and
Yes.
this is Him speaking to me.
Yes.
And then they kept
Yes.
happening, and I had a few of them, and they were
Right.
in concession, and they compounded on each other, and so I knew that He was speaking to me, and I couldn't.
Yes. And that's different than, the day after having pepperoni pizza.
That's right.
That, you get these kind of crazy thoughts.
No.
It's the repetitive nature of
Yeah.
the same dream,
Right.
same vision, same theme
Yeah.
that's taking place that you start waking up
Right.
to it.
Yeah, and there's
and-
revelation in those dreams, and there's
Right.
peace in those dreams,
Mhm.
and there's like things just kind of seem to fit together.
How
and
about
come
urgency?
together.
Was there urgency
Yeah.
as well? Yeah, I would think.
Even to the point to where when I woke up from some of these dreams, God would say, "Celebrate in the natural right now, as if you already have these things." And so in one of my dreams, I was in a barren land. It was just fruitless, no vegetation. It was just complete desert land. And so there was these kids that are bused to me, a bus full of kids, and they're all different kinds of races. And so they get out of this bus, and then all of a sudden, the place I was in was transformed into springs of life, and there was vegetation, and there's a river in the middle of us, and there's this feast, and we're all eating, and we're celebrating, and there's a banner with this huge building that says, "Welcome to the Kingdom." And I wake up, and I'm like, that was profound, and God said, "Celebrate right now," as if that's already happening.
And the unique thing to me is you didn't think of the Partridge Family. You didn't think I need to go out and buy a bus. You
Yeah.
instantly got it.
Yeah.
You got it. I mean, that's the point of these visions and revelations and dreams, is that they will make sense to the person receiving it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And they're unique to the person
Mhm.
being given the message.
That's right. Yeah.
Because it may be a very different message in a different form for
Yeah.
someone else, which tells me once again is that we really need to stay in the Word and stay
That's
in
right.
prayer and stay focused on God. What do you want for my life? Just like what God did with Patrick
Right.
and is doing with you.
Mhm.
You ever see this changing? Of course, you don't know what God's going to do. But
Yeah. I definitely see it growing. I definitely see it expanding. I see it expanding even to more ministry here in the States, because our heart, and we know that the orphan spirit is real, and it's not just the practical orphans or the social orphans or the ones who've been abandoned physically by their parents. The spirit of the orphan spirit is real, and then without Jesus and the Holy Spirit adopting us into His family, we're all orphans. And so that surfaces itself in business, in relationships.
It does.
I'm rejected, I'm not seen, I'm not known. And so we feel like we can take this ministry of orphan care, orphan prevention, and what we're learning and how God's developing us, and take it wherever we go.
Patrick, it's unique, the timing on the topic
Mhm.
for us here at ITVN. I just came through a men's group that was kind of a hand-selected group of men. And I don't know why they selected me, but I became a part of this group. And it was primarily about the orphan spirit.
Wow.
But guess what? About churches having the orphan spirit.
Wow. Yeah.
And having been a pastor for most of my life, I can tell you, wow,
Mhm.
is that what's going on with
Yes.
so many churches? The idea that good enough is good enough.
Mm.
Oh, it's good enough. God
Mhm.
understands. You know what? It's not good enough.
That's right.
He's the King of glory. He's the King of kings. We've
Come
got to
on.
give him our best.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't give him just kind of.
Mhm.
How many? I can't tell you how many times, because we're doing Jewish studies, people will come up and say, "Yeah, but is that really important? As long as a person has salvation." Wait a minute. Are
Yeah.
you saying that all you want to do is the least amount for the King of Kings?
Mm-mm.
Just the least. How can I get in? It's all
Yeah.
about just how can I get in?
Yeah.
It's much more than how can I get in. How can I show in
Right.
God's love language that I love Him with all that I am, and
That's
I
really
thank
good.
Him that He gave His only Son for
That's really
me,
good.
that I could live with Him in glory,
Mm.
that I could be a part, grafted in with His people.
Mm.
What else can I do? That needs to be the question.
Mm.
It's the question in your ministry. It's the question in our ministry here at ITVN. It's the question in your church.
Yeah.
What more should I be doing? God, show me what else I can do.
That's right.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm ready to take an offering right now. But, I mean, what else can we
That's
do?
that.
I mean, that's going to change the world.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm sitting in my pew, I'm comfortable, I'm giving my $20 a week.
Yes.
And it's good enough, God understands, because my favorite TV show is coming on tonight.
Uh-huh.
Wow. And we're going to face Him, and He's going to say, well done? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you that you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Who cares what's on TV?
That's right.
I mean, we've got a whole world to minister to.
Yeah.
And I am so honored to have you on the set.
Thank you.
I am.
I wanted to be here.
Just keep listening, keep doing it.
Thank you.
I'm not your bigger brother, but I'm your older brother.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And just keep doing what he's doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so let's hear the website again so people can get involved and back you up on
Yeah,
this.
so the website is IME.org. That's IMME.org. And so you can find about us, why we chose Haiti and, kind of what we do and info about vision trips and how to donate and what happens with your donations. We describe what the orphan cycle is because our mission is to end the orphan cycle, by spreading the gospel of Jesus and creating family structures in the culture of family. And so in a place like Haiti, where there's a lot of slavery and the people revolted to gain their freedom. And so they were colonized by the French, but when they revolted and gained their freedom, the French left. So all the infrastructure that was in Haiti was gone, and now these slaves are now free, and they don't have any understanding of how to build infrastructure. And so, yeah, we are really into empowerment, and so building that infrastructure, and you guys can find out more about what we do and why we do it.
We have a lot of folks that come on the show, the interview, and they're good folks, and they're doing great work, and we're honored as a network to push their ministry, at least make you aware of what else is going on and what you might get involved with. I'm just going to ask you now. I'm not really a TV evangelist. I'm just a straightforward guy. I'm going to ask you, just pray and say, God, is this the ministry that you want me to get behind? And, if you're not hearing no, then why not get involved until you do? Or until you hear a yes. Get involved, put your money where Christianity's mouth is. We say we care about the widows. We say we care about the poor, the orphans. This is a great opportunity. And that wasn't meant to be a guilt trip on you at all. It's just, when I hear this kind of need, I know that at Israel TV Network, we're going to push this show. We're going to do what we can on our end. And I'm asking you, if God is touching your heart, do what you can on your end. And you know my heart behind this too. So, thank you, Patrick.
Yeah,
I
it's an honor.
appreciate you. It's an honor for us. And I look forward to seeing what God is going to do in our relationship between us and you.
Amen.
I want to hear updates through Mike, through you, and we'll have your email address and how to contact you.
Yeah.
And let's just give your address one more time of how they can contact you through the website.
Yeah, so it's ime.org, or you can send an email to info@ime.org as well.
Thank you. It's a
Thank
real
you.
honor and a pleasure. God bless you guys. I pray that God fills your life to the fullest so that we can change the world together. And I'm praying that God uses you in a way that you never thought, just like Patrick, that he could use you in. And he will. And he'll use you uniquely, specific to you. We'll see you next time. Shalom, shalom.